Welcome to the Buy Box Bandits podcast.
Welcome back to the Buy Box Bandits, the #1 Amazon podcast in the world. Today we have a long-awaited, tried to get him on in October, tried to get him on in November. Luckily now here in March we have him. We have rockstar Amazon YouTuber, Amazon seller, content creator, jack of many all trades. Didn't even say that right. My awesome business partner in the Discord. We have Fields of Profit with us, everyone. Long awaited.
Yo, what's up?
This boy starts clapping.
Yes, sir. Let's get
Glad to be here. I was just waiting until it was the #1 Amazon podcast.
Yeah, well, we had to climb the rankings. We had to climb the rankings.
So as of, I think, episode like 45, we are now the #1 Amazon podcast.
Now that it's the #1, I'm here. Like it's game time.
Unanimous vote too, in case you guys were wondering out there. So thank you for all the support that skyrocketed us up the rankings. But Warner, before you did YouTube, before you're now hitting $100,000 months on Amazon and all that, take us back to the beginning and walk us through how you got started in making money online and all that, and let's talk through all that.
Yeah, sure. So a lot of you probably have, there's some audience crossover, but for those of you that don't know me, like I said, my name's Warner. I'm from Arkansas, kind of middle of nowhere. It's just like a little college town, not little, it's just a college town in Arkansas. Nothing special, right? So I got fired from my job working at a chocolate factory right before I started going into college. And I was like, man, I don't want like someone to just be able to like snap their fingers and like it's over. So I started just like doing YouTube. Like I was like, how to make money online. Probably, I imagine that's the search I threw up. That's kind of the search everyone throws up. And I kind of landed on eBay dropshipping at first. And I remember hustling with eBay dropshipping for like a month or two. I realized after the month, I like did all my profit and loss on a spreadsheet. And after all the returns and stuff, I think I made like $62. I was like, no, this is not it. So I did some more research, did some more YouTube University, landed on, it was either like a Rake-In or a Reezy Resells video about selling books, went out, got Scout IQ, got the book scanner. And then I kind of just started to figure out the used book game. I would go to class, and then after class, I would go to thrift stores probably two, 3, 4 times a week, depending on how bad I wanted to hustle that week. And I would scan every thrift store within like a 30-45 minute drive of me, like pretty often. And so I was able to build that up to right around $100,000 in sales in my first year, just hustling, like, just putting in the work. Started with, I think it was about $1,500. I did books for a little bit too long, but it was a really good learning experience. Good, just good to get out there and hustle with it. But yeah, I did books for a little bit longer, started dipping my toes into some other stuff, but that's kind of where I came from, all from just kind of scanning books at thrift stores.
Yeah. It's great. What were you doing at the chocolate factory?
That's
what was your job?
Yeah,
I heard that part.
Were you handing out golden tickets? What were you doing?
No, man, I was the guy making the chocolate. Like I made the chocolate in the back for 10 an hour. Like,
wait, real? What
brand was it?
I don't want to give them the PR because
they can, my boy. We can't be giving them.
No, I mean, yeah. Damn. Wait, so were you like mixing it, or like you were like really making the chocolate?
No, like I knew the recipes. Like I was putting it in the grinders. Like it took like a day. It's like, all right, it's the next day. Time to add a little bit more like cocoa butter, and then you finish the chocolate, and then it goes on to the people who like package it and stuff.
That's sweet. That's awesome.
I'm surprised more of that isn't automated. I mean, I'm sure it was like big machinery and shit, but I don't know.
It was a pretty small company. So it was like, it was a house basically that they had turned into a chocolate factory.
Do you remember the conversation that kind of gave you the can? What were the words that they said? Does that resonate with you?
Yeah, and how long were you working for them?
So it was supposed to be like my job, and then the guy just hated me for no reason, and then he just handed me a letter at the end of the summer, like saying your temporary employment is over, as though we had agreed to it being a summer job, and it was not a summer job. So I was like, man, screw this, and I'm gonna figure something else out.
Yeah. Man, that sucks. But I mean, hey, it worked out, obviously.
Yeah, it worked out. I'm not making 10 an hour anymore. So
yeah, dude, that's crazy. 10 an hour. Oh my God. I mean,
so you're doing books for a while, right? And obviously there was some point where you started to absorb some content. What was that next transition like? Was it retail arbitrage, kind of scanning in store? Did you go straight to online? What was that build up like?
Yeah, so I had a pretty weird transition. I went straight from used books, and then I was like, wholesale seems fun. So I went straight from used books to wholesale. I actually didn't do online arbitrage until after I had like learned the wholesale game. I started figuring out wholesale in like September, October of 2020. Got a couple brand direct accounts, but I had some issues where my account was just like tiny. I didn't know what to look for as far as like buy box rotations and stuff. I ended up stocking up pretty deep on some products that I just ended up getting no sales on. And so that kind of screwed me. And then I tried to like figure out the online arbitrage game. I was like, all right, that was a little bit too much money. I lost some money there. So then I was like, all right, how do I spend $500 at a time instead of 5,000?
Awesome. So you went from books to, attempting wholesale. That's actually similar to what I did. And I talked about this on the last podcast, is now that I've been going back into grocery now, and I'm able to look at the filters I was using 2 years ago to filter through grocery. And I was like, no wonder I wasn't having any success, because I was looking at like 20+% margins, $4 profit per unit. And it was terrible. But I also went from books, failed at books, wholesale, and then went to OA, which I think a lot of people just find a ton of success in OA.
Yeah, there's just so much low hanging fruit. Like I've been thinking about it. And as I grow, like I'm trying to learn like the wholesale distributor route a little bit more this year, like treat it as like here's where I can stick a bunch of money at 20-25% ROI. And then the OA is the really, really profitable side of the business, just so I'm not having idle money. But I think OA just has so much low hanging fruit. But yeah, like the wholesale, when I started, like it wasn't a complete failure. I actually still work with two of the companies that I found back then. A couple of those products I did find, I was going back through like some old accounting data and stuff. I was selling stuff for like 10% margin. I was like, this is not it. So I cut a lot of those accounts, but I actually do work with a couple of those accounts still. So not a bad lead there.
That's something we talk about a lot, is not in terms of, going 100% in one or the other, but creating sort of a hybrid, right? And I think 1,000 ASINs really hit the nail on the head when he talked about how his business was constructed, right? Going deep and the bulk of his business was the wholesale, but with OA, like 10, 15, 25%, really getting that high margin OA stuff that you can just put on almost autopilot.
Yeah, I mean, there's just so much stuff where you can just keep going back to it over and over again with OA. It's almost like wholesale, especially with some of the volumes on some of the products you can do with OA. Like, I mean, you guys are sitting on some super high volume OA listings. You know what I'm talking about? The couple hundred units a month, just like easy money,
All right.
buy it at retail price over and over again. Back before the spring, I think it was Spring Valley, the Walmart vitamin brand that went gated recently. I was selling those like crazy.
That went gated?
Yeah, and I got clipped off of that.
That sucks. Wait, so
yeah.
did you just have to take the L on the inventory?
I didn't. Luckily, I had. So it went gated like January, I want to say, and I had liquidated like all of it so that I could make space for toys and apparel because my storage limits were maxed out.
Yeah.
So it was kind of lucky that I didn't have a lot of it left. But yeah, there was 1 2-pack of Spring Valley that I was moving like 400 or 500 units a month of.
Jeez.
Damn.
Yeah, so I mean that right there is like over 1,000 profit a month right there, and you only had to find that once.
Yeah.
Find it again. So talk us through, before we can, maybe shift into like some of the marketing and content and all that. What's your current workflow? Because you had a video that did really well like a week or two ago talking about you only spend X amount of hours a day. So let's talk through your current workflow, the prep center setup, the sister employment setup, and all that.
Yeah. So I'm actually really proud of the way I've been able to pull myself out of the Amazon business, still working on getting myself even more removed from it. But, there's a lot of people who it's their main gig. It's like everything they do to try to get massive, like 30%, 25% profit margins. But I look at it as a way of like, at the end of the day, I want to be able to step away from it as much as possible. And if it runs at net, like after everything, even if it's net like 12 or 13 after VAs and everything, like all those costs, and I worked like 2 hours, 3 hours a day, like that seems worth it to me. And that frees up so much more time to go deploy that capital on other projects, the social media stuff, there's lots of projects that we could be working on instead of like hunting over Keep It Charts, looking for the perfect margin products. And the reason why, the net might end up that low, I don't expect it to be that low, but I wouldn't be mad if it ends up being with the way the systems I've built, because essentially all I do is So I have a virtual assistant team. They source the leads, and then I have a manager. He looks through their leads and approves the leads or denies the leads. And then, he actually coaches them on those. I've been very fortunate to have a good manager there. So I wake up in the morning with a big list of products that are my experienced manager, like 99% of the stuff he finds that's good is actually good. So I just swipe the credit card on that, send it off to my prep center. And then it's fairly hands off from there, right? So the prep center might say, this isn't on your sheet, they sent the wrong thing, and then I've got to do a little bit of work there. But it's just looking at a list of approved products, swiping the credit card, sending it off to the prep center, watching the back end, repricing, all that kind of stuff. But it's really like, I'm never gonna say passive, never gonna say like automated, anything like that.
You'll get Danny triggered.
But
here.
like, I'm trying to
And
get
his rocket ship is going to take off the wall if you say automated.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm just trying to get as close to that, to the P word as I possibly can. Just because there's so many other opportunities you could chase rather than like hunting for perfect margin within the Amazon business.
Yeah. Well,
So
it's different when you build it yourself versus when you're buying a whole system from someone. So that's
no,
like,
they said they'd build it. They'd build it completely for me. They'll find the product.
Anyway,
they'll source the products.
Anyways, so your products go through essentially 2 filters, stop gates,
Yeah.
before they get to you.
Yeah.
I got a
And
few
do you ever
questions
see
about
yourself
this, man.
allowing your manager to purchase?
I've been playing with the idea. The only concern I have is, even though I trust him, I'm not like, if you're a Filipino worker, all of a sudden you've got a credit card you can put 100 grand on. Like, I cannot come after, like, you can't do a lawsuit with someone in the Philippines, right? Like, that's so hard. So that's my only hang up. I've been thinking about like, so since I've been sending pretty much everything to the prep center, my sister has a lot less work. So I've been thinking about re-employing her as the purchaser. But then you've got $100,000 in the hands of a high school senior. So then it's like, is that a good idea?
And you definitely can't sue your sister.
Yeah, but she's not going to run away with my money. So
yeah, employee card spend limit daily is the one immediate. Yeah, that's the one immediate thing.
Yeah, I
But
mean,
at the
I guess
same
that's
time, you
always
gotta-
a risk. That's always kind of a risk. They could go rogue. I mean, anyone could go rogue. An American employee could go rogue as well. But
it's probably an unfounded fear. Like, I've never had a bad experience with a VA yet, but it just feels like, I don't know, before you have a VA, it feels like, oh, that's scary. That's the next step. I'll do that later. And then you have a VA and it's like, oh, they're just a person. And now that's probably what it is. It's like, oh, that's scary. Yeah. They're going to steal my money. And really it's just a person.
That would seem to be the natural progression for the next step, is eventually having purchasing. How much do you pay the manager, if you don't mind me asking?
I don't want to say a specific number, but he gets paid over double what we pay our normal sources.
Okay.
I mean, we talk about outsourcing the purchasing, but at the same time, it's kind of like splitting hairs, right? I mean, your purchasing is probably less than an hour of your time each day, I would presume.
The purchasing is almost everything I do. The purchasing takes me like an hour or two every day.
Yeah. So the workflow is you get the leads, they're vetted, you obviously check, you order them, toss the confirmations, quantities, ASINs in the Google Sheets that the prep center uses. And then you get notified when they receive it. And you obviously, I assume, check the quantities and such with Inventory Lab and make sure it's good.
Yeah. And I would say the next step within that is the purchasing. And I also do too much work as far as like the prep center sheet requires a decent amount of info. I should just say, here's where I bought it. Here's how much I paid for it. Virtual assistant, go put it on the spreadsheet. Cause that does take 5-10 minutes, which if you're optimizing down to the minute, I should outsource that.
Yeah, I feel that.
So with all this free time, what are you starting to get into? Are you traveling more? Or are you just putting out more content?
A lot of shit. Not much free time. Yeah. It's the same way we all got a lot of stuff going on. Yeah.
Miles seems like he ate something, or I don't know what's going on. Like, are you good, Miles?
I don't know. It's been such good energy since the last episode and the episode with George too. I'm excited.
He's just reclined back.
Yeah. That's funny. No, it's good. How long did it take you to get to the point of where you're at now with a manager? Like, when did you take us back to when you first hired your VA to then building out the team and then now having a manager and then managing the other VAs? How long did it take you to get to that point?
Yeah. So I hired my first virtual assistant last July. So it's
still
been,
with you?
Yep. He is still working for me.
That's Awesome.
So I don't know what the math, like 8 months, 9 months, something like that, since I hired my first virtual assistant. I can't remember specifically when I hired the manager. But the way it worked was he wouldn't budge on what he was asking for because he had experience. And he actually had experience vetting other VAs leads before. So I was like, all right, so for a week you can vet the VA stuff and I'm going to vet you. If it's good, then all right, you're the manager now. If it's not, I'm not keeping you on as a sourcer for that price. And he crushed it. Like, I think he made like 1 or 2 mistakes all week. And so it's just been, it's been since then. I want to say it was somewhere around like December that he ended up being on the team, maybe November. It's just kind of a natural progression. Like, at this point, I hired 2 more this week. So we're at, I think it's either 15 or 16 sourcers. So there's no way I could look at that many spreadsheets every day. And so, I mean, that's his full-time job. Like,
Wait, you're at 15 sourcers?
Yeah. Between, my team is now 4, the rest of it's for leads list, but it's all kind of the same.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's like some stuff needs full time, like it all works very well together. Yeah, so like our Discord is popping. The Discord we have with all the VAs, it's like signing in.
Oh, is that how do you time track them?
I do not want to micromanage people. I don't track their hours. You can tell pretty easily if a virtual assistant's not working, right?
Yeah.
So the way we do it. Sorry,
I was just gonna say, like, I also think with the price point too, it's like, or the cost for the employee. It's dumb. Well, sorry, what were you saying?
Yeah, I agree. It doesn't make sense to micromanage people at that level, but I forgot what I was going to say.
I think you were saying you could tell really easily.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So, and this is probably useful for a lot of you guys out there who are looking to get your first virtual assistant. You can tell very easily if a virtual assistant's not working. Like, I remember the first time I tried to get a virtual assistant, I was going to set up like Hubstaff or one of those where it's like the time trackers. And then my first virtual assistant was like, can we not use that? And I was like, oh, we probably don't need to use that. You're probably right. Just because it it screenshots your screen every 10 minutes. Like, it's kind of an invasion of your privacy. Like, I wouldn't want it if I was working for someone overseas. But yeah, so what we look for is if they don't find at least 4 good products and that's approved by myself or management, then they're gone. And that would be what we're looking for from our like least experienced sourcers. So, you expect more from someone you're paying more. It's just natural. But like, if they're not finding at least 4 good products, then they're not a good virtual assistant. The best ones will find like 8 or 9 good products a day.
Nice. Yeah. I mean, dude, and like, I'm sure 1 unit of each of those pays for that.
And how much overlap? How do you manage the overlap between the 15? Like, I mean, I would assume it's inevitable that they are finding some of the same products. Do you have them sourcing different stores, or how do you work with that?
Yeah, that's been a big project, like literally this week. So I took, I haven't talked to all of them as much as I probably should. So I took one day and I talked to every virtual assistant on the team, kind of got some ideas, and a lot of them were giving me input on how we can work on that. So right now, the system we have is, it's just a giant spreadsheet. Anytime they add an ASIN to their personal spreadsheet, it goes on the master spreadsheet. And then anytime they add a new ASIN, they control F on that spreadsheet and try to find a duplicate and, make sure it's not a duplicate, which is not a great system. I would love for there to be like a custom built database. I'm maybe looking into doing something like that, so that it saves them time. But for now, it's just a giant spreadsheet. And we're like literally like yesterday, I started building some kind of another sheet. Again, probably having some custom built infrastructure is what I need at this point. But it's just like a ledger of the scans they're running to make sure that they're not running the same scans. And then the manager, his job is to delete the scans after 2 days and they can run the same scan again, just to make sure we're not letting stuff slip through the cracks.
You don't even need a custom built software. I mean, you can build some pimped out macros in Excel to kind of do what you got to do.
Yeah, and my manager is insane with Excel. Like fairly early on into his hiring, he built this like crazy it was like he was coding in Excel. It was in Google Sheets, like trying to find like
Caleb
the perfect
Roth
way.
tracking spreadsheet type energy.
Yeah, it was crazy. I was like, bro, what is this? You are a genius. So like I sent him a message like 2 hours ago saying, hey, can you figure out how to make this like the ASIN duplicate sheet like sync up with the master spreadsheet a little easier? So hopefully he'll have that figured out like tonight.
Yeah, I mean, if he doesn't, let me know. I could definitely. I mean, I built the same thing for myself, but it's
cool.
not hard. Yeah.
What's the
transition.
primary method of sourcing the VAs are using? Are they using like software or manual sourcing or a combination
Yeah,
of both?
so it like even among you three, I'm sure you have different preferences for the ways you like to source. So like some of them are like wizards with tactical arbitrage. My best virtual assistant figured out some crazy like back end way to use tactical bucket. Like I'd never even given him a tactical bucket login, and I talked to him and I was like, what are you doing? And so I had him make me a document of everything he was doing, and he showed me like this crazy tactical bucket strategy that he wasn't paying for, and this new website. I think it's like Deal Plus. It's like Rakuten, except basically it just outlines the coupons for every store. I've been looking for a website like that. And so he sets up like scans based on that the night before, comes in the next day with a bunch of new data. So he's like a wizard with tactical arbitrage, like all the softwares and stuff. And he's my best sourcer. But right behind him, there's people who only reverse source. So it's just up to whatever each virtual assistant likes to do. And I've blown the minds of a couple of my virtual assistants with the seller amp reverse sourcing strategy. They're like, oh my gosh, that's going to save me so much time.
Yeah,
So that
it's just like Google's all that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's just
talk
fun
about- Go ahead.
yeah, I was just gonna say it's fun to see what all they're good at. And I've been trying to get more and more feedback and learn from them, especially lately.
Dude, have you seen the new TA update? I've been talking to these guys about it for the past couple of days.
The buy box thing.
Yeah, it's so cool.
Yeah, that's massive. Like it's no longer like
A point in
it's not a
time metric.
snapshot
It's
anymore.
historical.
It's
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, it's moving
Massive.
data. Yeah.
Which
So
is
I'd
super,
imagine you
super
find
cool.
I'd imagine you find a lot less with it. I haven't done like significant amount of searches with that yet, but I imagine you find less, but it's a lot like more consistently profitable.
Yeah, there's a lot less fluff, which is obviously ideal, right? It's less time.
Yeah.
Flip
getting
side,
into
Miles, what are
obviously-
you doing in those sunglasses over there?
Dude, some NFT, like some big stuff. I just went airplane mode again, but it was a big deal NFT wise. Seriously, like it's just a big deal with VFriends Season 2 and book games and MetaMask and all that.
Is VFriends still like, is the price still up on that?
Of course, in Gary we trust. In Gary we trust.
So Warner, taking a step outward and looking at 2020, what are we in 2022? What's like
Yes,
the big
2020.
picture, big goals for Amazon wise? And then we'll get into content.
Yeah. So I've made some friends. Actually, one guy on TikTok, I'll shout him out. His name's Amazon Wholesale on TikTok. He and I've been talking. He's really heavy in like the distributor game, and so he's been giving me some game on how to get into that. So I'm probably going to look into like the distributor wholesale game within the next 1 or 2 months. But honestly, like the systems I've been able to build with OA, the only things you have to worry about are like IP issues, like Amazon being weird with your account. So as long as I can build those systems and stick to brands and product categories that I'm safe with, I think it's really reasonable to hit 1.5, maybe even 2 million this year. Really just trying to scale the OA operations and then use the wholesale route as kind of a leftover money from OA just to make sure there's nothing growing at 0%.
And
And
how
I know
are
you have talked about PL some. Are you still looking into that?
I've kind of cut that out for the, just for the immediate future. There's just a lot of projects I'm trying to work on, even outside of like my own Amazon business. I would love to do that within maybe by the end of the year, maybe beginning of next year. But I was actually talking with like a top 10 private label seller, and they were telling me that it's like probably the hardest time to ever get into that. So hearing that, knowing the other opportunities that are out there right now, I'm just kind of putting that on the back burner.
How are you managing restocking products?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think anyone has a perfect system, but I use Seller Board, and then I just use that as like an estimate, like a rough, just looking at what sold, trying to estimate what would sell in the next 35 to 45 days, trying to restock based on that. And honestly, with OA, like a lot of the limits, it comes from like order cancellations and stuff like that, rather than like the perfect amount of stuff you can buy. So for a lot of times, it's just buying as much as the site will let me buy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, dude, the order cancellations on OA are the most frustrating thing ever.
That's the main reason why I want to look at wholesale, because I want to be able to send an email and spend 25 grand and not have to, get 25% of the orders canceled, place 100 orders. Like,
Oh my
yeah.
God. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Or you spend 2 hours placing 200 orders, then they all get canceled. It's the worst feeling ever. Flip size miles. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm not allowed to just not talk for 2 minutes. You've got people chirping me in the comment. We're on with the guests you guys won't even follow on Instagram. Not now, but like sometimes we're on with the guests you guys haven't even followed them on Instagram. I'm carrying, man.
I don't use Instagram.
So now transitioning into your content, obviously you're a pretty big occupier in TikTok and YouTube. When did your YouTube journey become like legit and you started to take it more seriously?
Yeah, so I uploaded I can't remember when I uploaded my first video, but I uploaded like a 3-minute video about selling books on Facebook Marketplace as like a dud liquidation. Like that was my first video, and it got like no views naturally. And then I made like a Zen arbitrage tutorial. Kind of got a little bit of traction on that one. Kind of made like 2 or 3 videos after that. But then in October of 2020, I was like, what if I just made a video every Monday? And so since then, I've just made a video every Monday. And since then, I've also added Thursdays onto that. But it's just been about being consistent, 1 or 2 videos a week. Just trying to help people make money, right? It's just being consistent, offering value. I mean, there's no like tricks to it,
If you only got TikTok or YouTube, which one would you choose?
January 17th, 2020.
Was that when that dud video went up?
Yep. You got the Robinhood link in that bar there.
I was trying to farm anything back then, man.
What do you prefer, YouTube or TikTok? Because you've taken off on TikTok recently, haven't you?
Yeah. I mean, a YouTube subscriber is worth like 10 to 100 times what a TikTok follower is, just from like,
dude, probably, yeah. 500 times.
Yeah.
But I don't.
Well, I was just referring to just what's more enjoyable to create. But
yeah. As far as like what's more fun, like I don't know, it's tough. Like I think they both have their place. Like TikTok, I wish I could be a little bit more advanced on TikTok, but just the nature of like making TikTok videos, it just has to be basic. Every now and then you'll sprinkle in something slightly more advanced, but you're not going to hook new viewers with like, here's how you handle this account health issue. Whereas that might actually like, you're not going to get views talking about like IP complaints on, how to manage IP complaints on TikTok. But
this is how to fill out a seller app, an application to get a product.
They're watching people dance, and then the next video they scroll to is a 3-minute video of someone like, here's how you set up an Amazon seller account.
It is interesting. The fastest growing demographic on TikTok, I think, is 35 to 50.
And that'll always be the fastest growing demographic on every social platform. Yeah.
Well, until the
I don't know about
35.
I'm just saying, I thought it was. I think the fact that it's interesting because it's the only social platform where the fastest growing demographic is like 35 to 50.
Okay. Until a few years ago, it was Facebook. Until a few years ago, it was Instagram. Like those were the demos. Guarantee it. What's the fastest growing demographic on Instagram right now? Like 90-year-olds?
Maybe.
It's definitely not 20-year-olds. I can tell you that much. I'm looking it up. But carry on, boys.
You're not editing your YouTube videos, are you?
I was up until probably less than a month ago. I hired an editor. I'm super happy with the stuff he's been doing, and views, retention are both up. So it's clearly working. And it's just nice to take a raw video and send it and be done with it. It's all all in the spirit of delegating things you don't need to be touching.
That's what that's the only way I would have been able to. So obviously I started my YouTube channel. The only way I'd be able to do it if I didn't have to edit the videos. I remember when I was doing like gaming videos and stuff when I was younger, and it actually went well, but I was editing them myself and I hated it. It took so long. Miles, can't say that.
What's the YouTube channel called, Danny?
Mine?
No.
It's my name, Wi-Fi Astronaut.
Yeah, it doesn't even have it.
You haven't mentioned. I was just.
Oh yeah. Or the one when I was younger is the Xbox Bros. I have that Gmail.
It'll be in the description.
It's not monetized. It was monetized.
Yeah, it was. It has like 4,000 subs, I think.
That's lit.
Warner, do you have any insight on how TikTok does their views, or like how they track their views on a video? Because I noticed it's just so inflated. I was just wondering if you had any idea how they track their views.
Yeah, anyone who, like, if you're scrolling through for your page, that counts as a view, even if you scroll past it immediately.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, it's just like,
Yeah, so the intent is so much
Yeah.
lower.
And the TikTok algorithm and the YouTube algorithm both incentivize videos that are incomplete thoughts, which is why you see so many TikToks that just abruptly cut off. Like if you look at a Mr. Beast video, it just ends because
the viewer retention is high.
Yeah. The algorithms reward viewer retention. So if you make half a video, it'll get more views than a full video. So
Here's $1 million buy. Mr. Beast be saying so.
Okay, that makes sense. That's why people are doing the looped video, or like the loop.
Oh, those are sick. Yeah, those are so sick. Yeah, definitely though. Yeah.
Have you guys seen the Afro guy or the Afro whoever on Instagram Reel? Never mind.
No, we don't use.
I don't think anyone hangs out on Instagram Reels except
Yeah,
you, Garrett.
no one.
I
hangs
enjoy
out on
Reels. I
Instagram.
enjoy Reels. Anyway, so you
Garrett,
graduated
should start
within.
putting them on YouTube Shorts and TikTok. All your IG Reels.
He does.
Yeah.
Do you?
Oh, Garrett. Oh, you should. Yeah.
Nah, not my personal ones. I've been lacking with content recently. I've been just so busy.
Bozo.
But that's always the excuse, right? Did you ever get any? Obviously, you graduated in
December. Yeah, a couple
Right.
months ago.
yeah, 3 months.
Did you get any negative feedback? Obviously, you never had any intention to get like a corporate like big board job, right? Did you have any negative feedback from your parents, girlfriend, anything?
No, I mean, by the time I graduated, I was making more than my parents. So like, what are they gonna do? But I'm not
How
saying
long
that
have you been upfront with them with how much you were making though?
I don't. I was actually talking to Miles about this. Miles was saying like his parents don't like know what's going on, but like my parents.
Oh,
my
well, I
parents,
told him now. I told him today.
Okay.
Like, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, they want to know about my life and they ask like specific
Yeah.
questions. I'm not gonna be the one to be like, yo, I made like $5,000 on one day, like like that kind of stuff, unless they're asking. You know what I mean? It just feels weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. True.
So they were always fully supportive.
Yeah, and it's kind of been a joke for like a couple years now that I'm their retirement plan, and I want to be like that's one of the main motivators for me is just to be able to like retire my parents to Costa Rica. Like here's $5,000 a month, like you're retired now, and I think that would be just like an awesome way to.
Are they trying
'Cause
to take Costa Rica?
No, they've both wanted to move to Costa Rica, or just like somewhere cool. Yeah, and I mean, like, I think for everyone, like, your parents just do a lot for you that, like, almost no one gets the opportunity to pay them back for. And I'm like, that's kind of a big motivation is that I can, be someone who gets to pay back their parents for the 18 years of being a jackwad to them.
Can you keep on that jackwad?
What's that?
Yeah, that was some Arkansas shit right there.
Miles, I'm trying to protect y'all's monetization. I'm not trying to.
That was some Arkansas stuff right
That
there.
might be the first time I've ever heard the word jackwad.
Really? Okay,
I think so.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
definitely
you're
Southern
wilding.
slang, Ben. That's
Yeah,
definitely Southern slang, Ben.
that's seriously some Southern slang. Right? We hear very often, I'm going to start making content soon, which is probably the second most popular thing besides I'm going to start selling on Amazon soon. So what are your tips for beginners either looking to get in the content space or the Amazon space? Probably more so the Amazon space because that's what like everyone wants to do that, is familiar with us and listening to this and everything, if they're not already doing it.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's going to say this, but just pick up the camera and start talking. Like my first couple videos, the first one was filmed on an iPhone talking in my attic. The next one was filmed with my MacBook and MacBook like mic, and you can hear me clicking every time I'm clicking for a 30-minute like tutorial with a software. So like, don't take it seriously. From like a technical point of view, like if you're trying to come up on YouTube, your thumbnails are extremely important, as is your titles. Like they need to be like how to do this. You're targeting searches as a brand new, like so on any platform where they're searching the title, you're targeting SEO at the start, and then you can start stretching the truth, like clickbaiting a little bit. Don't be crazy with it to the people who know you. But if no one knows you, you got to just throw up Danny, people know him on other platforms, but I think you've done a good job of like, here's how you look through a wholesale distributor sheet. Here's how you find wholesale distributors. That's like the perfect kind of content and perfect like title thumbnail that you need to be making as a brand new YouTuber. And then you can get fancier with it later on. The other platforms, it's a lot of it is luck, especially TikTok. Like TikTok, if you want to blow up on TikTok, just upload as many videos as you humanly can. Eventually one of them will go viral as long as you're putting a little bit of effort into it. But I mean, there's a lot that I could talk about. Like figuring out the algorithms and that kind of stuff is really fun. Like it's on par with the fun challenge of selling on Amazon is figuring out algorithms and stuff. But yeah, I mean, if anyone's trying to take the content game seriously, I get a million DMs a day about Amazon. If you're trying to take the content game seriously, I mean, hit me up and I will help you with that, because that's fun. I don't get that all the time.
Yeah, and there's tons of demand. Like people want to
Yeah.
learn this stuff. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So it's super helpful. Danny's ego just inflating rapidly as we're showing,
Why?
showing the Wi-Fi. Yeah,
Why?
we were grinding the thumbnails. Danny's like unlocking new character attributes in Canva.
On the Canva is like
new
the greatest
features,
thing ever.
man.
Canva is the
Wait,
greatest
do
thing ever.
you make your own thumbnails or do you outsource that too?
No, yes, Warner.
Oh, I was
Yeah.
actually asking Danny, but
Oh,
Yeah, Danny, do you make yours? That's actually
well, yeah, on Canva.
Okay.
But so my most recent ones, like the past 5, have been from the templates, and then I just kind of edit the template a little bit. My idea in my head is like I'll find like either 10 that I could just kind of keep rotating through, and I've kind of found 5 right now that are really good. Or I'll find eventually one, like your most recent ones have had that rip in the background with the $sign in them, something similar to that. You just
Danny's
I don't know,
thumbnails like this.
I mean, yeah, you gotta, like, yeah, dude, you gotta do it.
No, I mean they're sick.
Yeah.
I mean they're sick. That's not hate. That's sick.
I know. I mean, shout out Flips 5 Miles. He's the one who's helped me with a lot of these thumbnails. Well,
Dude, I'm tossing up 8% CTRs. It's just all native traffic, so I'm not getting any organic stuff because the people that know me are just clicking from socials and such.
Yeah, I almost think posting the socials links could hurt. Because
No, because like
Well, it's not
you're
gonna
not
hurt, but
optimizing
it's-
for views. You're optimizing for good intent views of people who like you. That's what people already know you. Like the content's there for a reason. I don't know. That's not super important. There's very few aspiring YouTubers listening to this. I would say in terms of the Amazon stuff, what are some beginner things you would do differently if you could go over knowing what you know now? I'd probably number one, obviously, we do endorse Prime here, by the way. They didn't give us the bag, but like you guys should.
it's on
go
speaker
do
view, so they can't
Yeah.
see it. But now you can see it. Prime Energy.
But yeah, besides moving out of books earlier, what else would you say?
Did you do books at all?
What's that?
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. I was just.
Or did you say that I still do books?
No, I said, would you do books at all?
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, I would still do books, like especially with the bankroll I had to start.
That's what I was
like-
thinking. Yeah, you would have to.
Like
Yeah.
thinking from the point of view where I'm 18 again, just trying to hustle, but I've got $1,500. You've got a ton of time to spend, right? But you don't have money to spend. I think a lot of people make the mistake of jumping into like arbitrage or wholesale with not enough money, which they can grow a business and they'll do fine. But if you had focused that effort on books or something, or retail arbitrage, like doing clearance, you can get 100, 200, especially with books, like you can get literally like 1,000% ROIs like constantly. And that grows your money so much faster that you can then put into online arbitrage, wholesale, and it's just a nice little like it's a nice shot of adrenaline to your starting bankroll. Especially if you've got time. Like if you're young, you've got a little bit of money in your pocket, you can hustle, like absolutely go sell books because it's going to build up your bankroll so much faster. But outside of like, I probably would have sold books for 6 months, something like that. Yeah, just to build up that bankroll and then start to look at OA, or maybe even treat it like I've been talking about wholesale, where your main gig is books, and then whatever leftover money you have, because you're only spending $1 at a time, put it into OA until it just doesn't make sense to run the book business anymore. And then that's where you phase out the book business. I think that might be like here's the technically right answer. But beyond like looking at like the books and stuff, like networking is absolutely the most important thing. And Miles is going to do his little networking rant again.
Facts. I will. I definitely will. Yeah.
But yeah, like you can see it on the sales chart where I started. Like I met with Miles, I met Carter, like a bunch of the guys in the space. Just started like, networking, bouncing ideas off each other. And obviously, like, you can see that on the sales chart where I started networking, talking to people. Like, if you're trying to build up an Amazon business, like, look into like the Discords, the Facebook groups, whatever, and find people at your same level and just start a group chat, share product leads. Like, that's going to be an amazing way to grow your business.
Yeah, and like making content validates to everyone else that's making content that you probably already follow, that you're like serious about it.
Yeah,
that's
the easiest way to find people is probably just by making content. But one
quick
thing
commenting and then having having stuff to show for when when Phillips for Miles pops up in their comments the first time they inevitably click to your page. They're like, oh, this dude's really doing it. You know what I mean? He's
even if you don't want to go the like talking into a camera route, you could like just make an Instagram page, like taking pictures of your box piles and your sales charts and stuff. Then you comment, people see you're legit, and then that's gonna be a good way to like build credibility. And
you have time to snap pictures. Don't lie to me, viewers. Yeah. You have time to snap pictures. You do.
Another cool thing about the books, not necessarily bulk books, but cherry picking books, is like the lessons that you can learn from books compared to like a wholesale. Like, you can learn the same lesson with books and it's only going to cost you $50 if you label a whole bunch of things wrong. Whereas with wholesale or even OA, it could cost you a lot more money. That's why, because books are so cheap, they're even free a lot of the times, or some of the time. It's just, you can learn the same lessons for so much cheaper.
Yeah, that's why I always recommend books for people who are brand new to Amazon. Like, if you want to get an arbitrage, go for it. But books is like, you're not gonna lose a ton of money. Like, you make 20 mistakes, you've lost $20. You make 20 mistakes with arbitrage, you've lost $1,000.
Go tweet that right now. You know how it is.
And since we're at the end of the app, I'll drop some game for those trying to get into the book game. Go start a local business that buys books from people. Like, for me, I can't say the name of it because people go Google it and stuff, but I started a company this is probably part of the reason why I did books so long, is I made business cards. I had a company name. I had a website, all that kind of stuff. I went to local networking meetings, handed out business cards to estate salesmen, anyone who sees a bunch of used books. Like, a couple times there was like people who run thrift stores there. So that was an obvious one. And then especially like the estate sales route went really well for me. Just hand out those business cards, say, hey, if you've got clients who want to sell their books, you'd probably sell them for $1 a pop. I'll come in and consign them for them or buy them more than other people would be able to, because I know what they're worth. And then it adds value to their clients because they're getting their books liquidated at a decent price. And then you go to books that haven't been scanned before. And I think that's the main value in that, is creating a way to look at books people haven't scanned before. But yeah, there's some game for people who watched all the way through it. Like, I actually gave that business to my sister, and now that's how she's making a good amount of her money. Just getting calls from people selling books and stuff. Great
big brother. That's actually really nice. That's sweet. I have, if someone DMs me and asks for something similar to that, I have I got like 3 PDFs that I used to use in high school, where I'd print out, college, where I'd print out flyers. It was like Danny's book pickup service, but the logos and stuff are on it really good. If anyone wants to DM me, and I'll give it out to you guys.
Your name has to be Danny though.
No,
that's the only that's.
Well, I was doing different. I was doing the illusion of choice. I'd put 2 of the same flyers but different logos.
No, that's smart. Yeah, the vending machine
Yeah,
stuff.
So people, it was great.
You're out here creating fake competition.
Yeah.
I was. It was different phone numbers, different emails. It was the illusion of choice.
Facts. All right, fantastic. So everyone go follow Warner, Fields of Profit. Check out, we got the free Discord, we got the FBA roadmap course, you got a ton of good YouTube videos and all that. That's Fields of Profit. Toss it up, Dennis. Fields of Profit. I don't know if we have the editing capacity for that. hopefully we toss
Dennis, you have to do it now.
But yeah, everyone, Warner, thanks for being on with us. It was
you just went at Dennis's pride right there.
Yeah.
Go.
Dennis is about to give you the most beautiful Fields of Profit name ever.
Yeah. One more time right here. Bang. All right. See you guys in the next episode. Appreciate it.